Well, hi James. I'm Gourav, and I'm excited to record Procol's ProcureCast podcast with you today. We do procurement podcasts with procurement leaders of the industry, and we've had some amazing conversation in the past, and we think our conversation will be helpful for everyone to listen into today. It'd be great if you can introduce yourself for the audience.
No, absolutely. My name is James Briscoe. I am the Director of Procurement Services here at Cypress Fairbanks ISD. And Cypress Fairbanks is a school district on the outskirts of Houston, Texas. We're the third largest school district here in the state of Texas. We're number 21 in the nation as it comes to size and enrollment. We run about a $1.2 billion budget here in our general fund. All the ones that know about school finance are we're funded through tax dollars primarily, and of course we get money from the feds, and we have bonded funds as well. I've been in the industry of education for about 8 years now. I've held positions as such as director of finance. I've worked as a CFO for a smaller charter school, but I've landed here in the world of procurement or Cypress Fairbanks ISD, where I now serve.
Yeah, that's quite helpful. Thank you, James. Um, when I first met you, my first question, I think, was how did you get into this? And how did you evolve your role into procurement in school districts? Love to hear more about it.
Well, procurement is always interesting, right? Procurement is one of those careers that will choose you, right? Because one, we have to understand what procurement is. Um, my first understanding of procurement, of course, was getting into the school world because purchasing is the activity of procurement, but procurement is the activities that surround purchasing, such as market analysis, cost evaluation, and procurement is extremely important because of the way school districts budgets and run their funding because schools are typically 80 to 87% people. So managing purchasing and material costs and supply costs is a small piece of the pie, but it's such a big initiative because purchasing is one of those absolute mechanisms of finance because once you buy it, the money's gone and you have that particular asset. So we want to always make sure that we're purchasing things of best value. We want to make sure that we're purchasing things that are sustainable, and of course we want to make sure that we are always in front of the markets and in front of the industry as it comes to innovation and cutting edge products to make sure that we're getting the best quality for our staffs and students.
Absolutely. I'm curious, in the last 10 years, how has procurement evolved as a strategic function in school districts?
Oh wow. Of course with automation, like automation was kind of the first antic that was added to procurement to where just shopping because we buy things. So in the layman's term, we shop. We get out there and we go find whatever that product or that service that our end users need, which is our client departments. And a client department can be a campus for us. So we have that gym teacher, and that gym teacher needs gym uniforms. And in the old way, we would get on the phone and we would call different vendors, we would call different companies that are in our network, and we would try to find those gym uniforms. But of course, with the digital platform, now we're able to use resources that allow us to, of course, get on the computer, and we have algorithm to help us filter, these options now. And for example, filters can lead by cost, it can lead by certain material that may be needed, sizes, certain aspects of delivery. We can filter things for, and of course, that those digital systems help us save time and manpower and ultimately help us serve our clients a little faster.
Yeah, and as the need evolves to balance costs cost savings with other activities we do in procurement, that balance can be difficult to make. Do you feel like there has to be trade-off between cost savings and other investments in high impact long-term projects?
Oh, absolutely. I think there is a balance that has to be implemented and that has to be presented in your purchasing. Like, for example, I believe that, the lowest bidder mindset can become detrimental or can become damaging to any entity, because sometimes when you're going for the lowest cost, you're getting, a cheaper quality, or you're not fulfilling the need of that particular end user or your organization. So there has to be some type of balance to where you're making the correct investment. However, but you need to get what you need and have things that are sustainable, that things you're not replacing every month or every year. And then as so far as like technologies and so far as softwares, AI is really big now. So getting softwares that is able to learn and become and be updated, because I'm old enough to say back in the days when we bought a software, you bought it, you put your CD in, you uploaded it into your system, and then when they came out with the new one, you had to do it all over again. But of course, now we have the ability to push updates automatically. But of course, with AI is now able to learn based off of our behaviors, and the things that we do regularly, and it takes the algorithm and it's able to learn, and we're not having to replace those technological tools the way we did in the past. So again, but those AI tools, of course, come with a cost, and digital tools do come with a cost, but they're more front end, and I think, and I believe they save more money on the back end as you begin to use those tools and utilize them.
Yeah, and talking about AI, which obviously everyone is talking about these days, have you started seeing any impact, or what impact do you see of AI in procurement in the coming years?
Oh man, I see AI being able to just be very useful. I mean, again, efficiency, right? It's able to save us time. Like for example, when we're researching, like we're in the research phase and get ready to put out a solicitation, and we need to build a scope for that particular product or service. Now, back again, I'm old enough to know back in the days where we had to spend a lot of man hours, reading and making phone calls and reading reviews and calling neighboring districts or calling neighboring entities to find out about the product or the service that's needed, and spend a lot of time with our client departments to pick their brain and to have information gathering calls just to understand what we are getting ready to solicit. However, now AI is able to kind of do that work for us and gather that information and kind of build a skeleton or a framework for our solicitations, or kind of lead us to the research, which is one, it helps us, people don't like to hear this, but it helps us reduce staff. So you don't need as many people to do some of the work, which ultimately saves organizations money. I mean, that's it, it is what it is. We're not trying to replace each other, but all organizations are here to maximize their dollars. However, it does error proof work, because the machines, they make mistakes, but they don't have human error. So
Yeah,
they're pulling factual data, they're pulling from reliable sources, and they're able to pull it at on demand speed. I mean, you hit the button and bam, you have all that information that would take you a day or a week now. So there are many benefits that I see that's on the horizon from using AI in procurement, and of course in financial functions.
for sure. There was one thing I had read in one of the leading consultants' report that 80% time of procurement professionals are going in tactical work and 20% time is going in strategic work. And this has to be opposite by using technology and AI. And hopefully 80% time can be spent on strategic work and 20% time can be going for tactical work. And I believe that's the primary application for our business case for all these applications. But coming back to procurement strategy and metrics, um, because it's hard to balance cost savings with other priorities, what are the traditional procurement metrics like costs? Why do they have cost savings as the primary metric in procurement, and what are the other metrics that can be considered while considering success of procurement?
Well, cost saving, of course, is always at the front end because most organizations either need to make money or retain money, right? So those are the things that either keep you in business or put you out, right? But again, when we think about sustainability, is that asset or that service, is it costing us more money in the long run when we buy a cheaper product or service on the front end? But I think other metrics that we have to look at is just one, we have to understand what we need, right? And what we have here at Cypress Fairbanks, we have what we call a best value model. We have a framework which we've derived off of the acronym NERD. And the first thing we like to do is understand the need of the product or service that our client is going to need. So we take a deep dive and we get a comprehensive understanding of what it's going to be used for and what the need is. And then we move to the E, which is evaluating the specifics, right? We want to, and the specifics is a singular evaluation or pre-research, to where we're just basically, we take this mug here and we, what material is it made out of, what color is it, what's the specs, what's the size, what's the lifespan of the cup. And then what we do is move to the R. We want to research the details, and now we're taking that deeper dive, right? So we're going to take it and we're going to compare it to what's out there in the market. So now we want to compare, that like for like commodity to make sure, okay, if it is more expensive, let's understand why. Does it offer a better warranty? Is it a safer product for the environment? Does it have better safety features? Is it able to learn? Is it able to evolve? um, what are the reasons and the drivers for that particular commodity, good, or service being more expensive, or if it is cheaper, why is it cheaper? Is it a situation where it's outsourced somewhere to where the material is cheaper? Do they have cheaper labor? Is it actually a higher quality? Is it better but cheaper? So we want to make sure that we have an understanding when we're in that research phase, so we can come back and make that recommendation. And of course, the most important thing in our best value model is delivery, right? Because you
Mm.
can do all of the research, you can evaluate your specifics, and you can understand the need in and out, but if you can't deliver that good or service when that client needs it, then you've basically done nothing. So again, we want to understand all of the delivery components, like, for example, when does the client need it, when is the drop dead deadline, how fast can we get it, are there any fees or costs associated with delivery, is there any manpower that's going to be necessary for delivery, where's the location that we need to get it delivered to, all of these things. So again, we like to understand best value, and all of the activities that you put in your best value cup, we use those as our primary metrics to go out there and make a purchase, or to understand if we made a good purchase versus a bad purchase.
That makes a lot of sense. Moving on to another interesting topic, I think we discussed this earlier, is about sustainability in procurement. And we would love to hear your views on, is sustainability in procurement good to have in school districts, or where does it currently stand?
I think sustainability is really becoming prevalent in the world of school buying, and here's why. um, Having purchasing things that can now roll over, to the next calendar year, or that has a 10-year lifespan, or that's able to, if it's a software, it's able to learn. um, it alleviates distractions of purchasing, because having to go out and replace things and having to go out and continue to evaluate resources takes away from the core job of what our school district needs to do, which is educate our kids and create improve learning opportunities for kids. But if we're constantly having to replace material or constantly having to go out there and shop, we're taking that administrator away from the curriculum, away from the classroom, in order to make purchases and in order to, supply the district and what they need, when we could just invest into things that are more sustainable, to where when we buy something, we have it for 3, 4, or 5 years, or it's guaranteed again to learn, and we can update things, or we can just add things or do maintenance to things, to where we're not just totally going on and replacing things as we deem necessary. So I
Sure.
think, again, so sustainability is really becoming um, an objective that is at the forefront of our procurement activities. It's no longer just, okay,
I'm
let's go out
extremely,
here and find the cheapest thing.
I'm extremely happy to hear that because there are activities that are being monitored, measured on sustainability, which is good. Um, Coming to specific challenges, you operate in a niche industry. What challenges do you face when managing vendor relationships in a niche market like education?
One of the things is managing your general vendors versus, your more customized vendors, like our vendors that have our specialty um products. Because what happens is, especially with curriculum, like curriculum is, where we hang our hats as educators.
Yeah,
We have to teach kids, we have to, drive student outcomes. And what happens is, the content creators and the curriculum creators, they, like, the people that are at the top, or at the smaller percent or the smaller margin, and they're serving everyone. So getting things from those types of vendors can be a challenge. For example, if they're like, we're the third largest school district, but if we have, I'm not going to name a particular vendor, but if we have a vendor that, say, is working with Dallas ISD, and
yeah,
they're designing this custom curriculum platform that they're going to launch, they're going to send their best people out there to help with the project, to get it launched, because things take time, right? And then what happens for the smaller guys, or the guys that get to the vendor second, you're going to get, the bench players sometime, or you're not going to be able to get service at all, or you're going to be put, on a back burner or on a back order type scenario, which ultimately will impact your ability to do your business as a school district. So, I mean, that's one thing. Managing our top tier vendors is a challenge, because we are in a niche market. We can't just do business with anybody that has a product. So we have to have approved vendors. We have to have people that are certified to work in our industry. So it is a bit of a challenge here, and resources are very important in education. There are hundreds of dissertations out there that talk about um, that educational results increase when resources are more readily available through the school district. So again, having resources, available and,
of course.
at the fingertips of our students and staff is essential to our outcomes. And again, we are the biggest A-rated district in Texas. So with that, we have to have our our vendors on speed dial, because we need things when we need them, because things happen. The world evolves, like the COVID situation. No one saw that coming, and we
Of
had
course.
to quickly pivot to go to a total digital learning platform, and procure safety equipment and PPE that we would not normally have to procure, but we had to do all these things, on the whim of, hey, we need it today, or we actually needed it yesterday. So again, having those pre-existing relationships and being able to stay in front of our vendors is always a challenge because it that's the legwork where we have to constantly meet, make phone calls, we have to constantly research, we have to constantly monitor their inventory to make sure that they have what we're going to need just in case something like that happens, or in case something does happen to where we need certain product or service, at the blink of an eye.
Right. No, that's insightful. I've always remained curious. Procurement in many organizations like manufacturing are able to correlate their work into direct outcomes of the production. Um, in education, what are the direct outcomes that you feel that procurement is contributing for students and other people in the system?
Well, the direct outcome is when students show up for class, they have what they need in front of them, right? It is as tangible as that. That we owe it to our students to make sure that they have the most cutting edge resources that we can, one, afford, that we can locate, and that we can deliver. The world is very competitive. The job market is not what it is, when I was coming up, as a young fella. So with that, students need to be armed with more information. They need to understand how to navigate and work in a technological world. I mean, I don't think there'll be a person, within the next 5 to 10 years that can not know how to use a computer. Like, I have aunts and uncles, and we have grandparents that still don't know how to use computers and refuse to use them. But I don't think our kids will be able to have that luxury. For example, we have to have smartphones. So, you have to have it. If you don't have a smartphone, there's certain things that you can't get access to. You can't get movie tickets, or you can't purchase things. So again, having the most cutting edge and the most technologically advanced goods and services is extremely important and at the forefront of things when we're shopping and purchasing and doing research on things that we need for our school district, because as procurement professionals, we have the luxury to stock things here because we're pretty big. So we have like our own Amazon. We call it Amazon. So no,
Yeah.
no pun on Amazon. We have our own warehouse where we stock a lot of things on hand to where we kind of know what people are going to need before they need it because of the data. The
Yeah.
data shows us, okay, you're going to use 160,000 box of number 8 crayons this year. So we kind of keep those things ready and available, but we also have to be ready and available to get things that you know um, just may become necessary due to a drive or a shift in the world. And those are the things we have to always have those conversations with our end users, our administrators, and of course, understand what our students need. Because at the end of the day, we're either making a purchase or we're making a recommendation to our client department on what they should buy to fulfill that particular need when they need it.
Yes, this is very aptly put. If students can get what they need when they get in the class, I think nothing beats that. I remembered during when I was studying in college, um, and as basic as the ways to operate the systems, if unavailable or the network doesn't work, everything can be impacted. The entire class would be disrupted, and students will be disappointed, and so will be the teacher. So if actually procurement works well, all these issues should not exist in the first place. So
Man, you just really put a date on me. I feel very old because you talked about network in college. My first year in college, I still was using tablets and no, I didn't have a laptop because we wasn't there yet. But it's
right.
okay.
Well, it was nice chatting with you, James. That's all the questions I had for you today. But you, thank you for being a sport and answering all the questions patiently. Um, well, if there's anything you'd like to add, we can wrap this podcast up.
Oh no, thanks for inviting me. Thanks for having me. This has been fun. This has been great talking about procurement. I always end with everyone to love on your procurement people. Um, Working in procurement is like riding a bike that's on fire, right? If it's like we get pulled in every direction, but we always get to our destination. So hats off to you for the tool that you've built to help us be great. And shout out to all the procurement people out there in the world.
Thanks, James. You have a good day.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.